Dear Starseeds, that leap of faith you're sensing isn't coming from outside, it's erupting from within, and most spiritual teachers are lying to you about what this really means. They'll tell you to raise your vibration, think positive thoughts, manifest harder, but here's the controversial truth. Your entire spiritual journey up until this moment has been preparing you to do the exact opposite of everything you've been taught about receiving. The universe isn't responding to your force anymore. It's responding to your surrender, and that terrifies you because you've been a warrior for so long. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and what's approaching you right now is moving like a snowball, gaining mass and momentum, growing stronger with each moment it rolls toward your current reality. You can feel something brewing in the background, can't you? Like standing in a field before lightning strikes, that electric anticipation crackling through your nervous system. This isn't your imagination. You're picking up on actual energy signatures moving through the quantum field toward you. Some of you are sensing a new home approaching, others feel love drawing near, and many detect career shifts materializing in the ethers. But here's what nobody's telling you. These aren't separate possibilities. They're all part of one massive transformation wave that's been building beneath the surface of your life for months, maybe years, waiting for this exact moment when you'd finally be ready to receive it all simultaneously. The moon moved into Virgo this morning at exactly 11:05 a.m., then squared Uranus at 12:36 p.m., and that cosmic friction you felt wasn't random chaos. It was your old receiving channels being forcibly expanded because they were too narrow for what's trying to flow through. Every moment of discomfort today, every surge of impulsiveness, every emotional overflow has been your system adjusting to accommodate transmissions that simply couldn't fit through your previous energetic infrastructure. You've been moving through what feels like molasses lately, haven't you? That slowness isn't a punishment or a delay. It's been a deliberate recalibration chamber, slowing your momentum so these massive internal shifts could occur without shattering your nervous system completely. But let me tell you what's really happening, that even advanced starseeds might not recognize. You're in the middle of what we call a divine softening protocol. For years, decades, maybe lifetimes, you've worn armor so thick that nothing could penetrate it. Not pain, but also not pleasure. Not hurt, but also not help. Not betrayal, but also not blessing. You built these walls because you had to. Because the battles you fought, the betrayals you survived, the wounds you carried required you to become someone who could withstand anything. You became unbreakable, and that served you well. But now something's shifting, and you can feel those walls becoming prison bars instead of protection. You're experiencing the most uncomfortable sensation of your spiritual journey, the feeling of being emotionally naked, spiritually exposed, energetically visible in ways that make your ego want to run and hide. That vulnerability rising in your chest, that raw openness that feels like standing in a spotlight with no mask to hide behind. This isn't weakness attacking your strength. This is your authentic frequency finally breaking through decades of defensive programming. And your soul orchestrated this entire breakdown of your armor because it knows something your mind doesn't. The very blessings you've been calling for can only enter through an open heart, not a fortified fortress. Here's where the story gets interesting, because you're not just randomly softening, you're being activated as what we call a lighthouse. Your entire auric field has shifted into a magnetic broadcasting system that's literally pinging signals across dimensional boundaries. Every authentic emotion you feel, every moment of genuine vulnerability you allow, sends out a light pulse that your desires can follow home to you. Think about an actual lighthouse. It doesn't chase ships. It stands in its truth, and lets its light guide what needs to find it. That's exactly what you're becoming. But this transformation requires you to stop chasing and start receiving. Stop forcing and start allowing. Those vivid dreams you've been having where deceased loved ones appear with messages, where you wake up exhausted like you've been somewhere important. You have been attending preparation councils in the astral realms, receiving instructions for this exact phase. Your consciousness has been training for this trust fall while your body slept, learning to navigate realities where the old rules don't apply. The wedding dreams some of you are experiencing aren't symbolic. They're showing you the sacred union occurring between your human self and divine essence, between your vulnerability and power, between who you were and who you're becoming. Every night, you're practicing this leap of faith in dimensions where it's safer to fail. The physical changes you're experiencing tell another storyline that's converging with everything else. Your body is literally reshaping itself. That glow others are commenting on. The age reversal some are noticing. The sudden improvements in appearance without conscious effort. This isn't just health or happiness. This is your light body beginning to merge more fully with your physical form. As you release these ancient protection patterns, your cellular structure is responding by returning to its original blueprint. You're becoming luminous from the inside out, because you're no longer spending enormous amounts of life force maintaining defensive shields that were never meant to be permanent structures in your energy field. Now pay attention, because this next piece changes everything. That snowball effect you're sensing, that feeling of something gathering momentum as it approaches. You're right, but it's not one thing. It's multiple timeline convergences heading straight for your current reality point. Imagine streams of possibility that have been running parallel to your life, suddenly bending toward you, carrying opportunities that were always meant to be yours, but couldn't manifest until you reached this specific frequency state. The new home, the relationship, the career shift. These aren't separate wishes. They're all aspects of one massive reality restructuring that's approaching like a cosmic avalanche. Your spiritual gifts are sharpening for a specific reason right now. The heightened intuition, the prophetic dreams, the spontaneous knowing, the energy reading abilities coming online. These aren't party tricks. These are necessary navigation tools for the reality you're entering. The old world operated on linear logic and physical evidence, but the new reality operates on synchronicity, resonance, and quantum correlation. Without these enhanced abilities, you'd be trying to navigate an ocean with a land map. Every gift awakening within you has a specific purpose for what's coming, and what's coming requires you to trust your inner knowing more than your outer seeing. Here's something that might disturb everything you believe about manifestation. The universe isn't responding to your high vibration or positive thinking anymore. It's responding to your authenticity, your realness, your willingness to be seen exactly as you are. Every time you choose vulnerability over protection, every moment you show your real face instead of the acceptable mask, you literally increase your magnetic pull on these approaching blessings. This is why forcing positivity when you feel broken actually pushes away what you want. The universe is done with your performance. It wants your truth, your mess, your beautiful human chaos. The resistance you're feeling to this message, that panic rising in your chest about being this exposed, that's your ego making its last stand, because it knows its reign is ending. That part of you that learned to never need anyone, never show weakness, never let them see you sweat. It's screaming because it senses annihilation approaching. But listen closely to what I'm about to reveal. You're not losing your strength. You're not becoming weak. You're learning to be both soft and strong, both protected and open, both powerful and vulnerable. Think about water. Soft enough to slip through fingers, powerful enough to carve canyons. That's your new energy signature emerging. Some of you are being called to new geographical locations, feeling an inexplicable pull toward places you've never considered. This isn't random wanderlust. You're being strategically repositioned for the next phase of planetary awakening. The Earth's crystalline grid is activating, and certain locations are becoming powerful vortexes for specific frequencies. You're being called to where your particular energy signature is needed most, while simultaneously where you'll receive maximum support. These moves are choreographed across dimensions, positioning you as anchor points for new frequency grids. Trust the pull even when logic says it makes no sense. The relationships ending or transforming right now aren't casualties of your growth. They're soul contracts completing. Some connections were meant to be catalysts, not companions for the whole journey. As you release these with gratitude rather than resentment, you create space for what we call destiny encounters. The people approaching aren't ordinary connections. They're souls you've been planning to meet across multiple lifetimes who carry specific codes for your evolution. But here's the key. These relationships only magnetize to authenticity. They can't find you behind your masks, can't recognize you through your armor. They need your real frequency to locate you. Now let me reveal something about the exhaustion you've been experiencing, especially waking up tired after sleeping for hours. While your body rests, your consciousness has been doing cleanup work in the collective unconscious, transmuting density not just for yourself, but for your entire soul lineage. You're clearing ancestral patterns, healing genetic trauma, releasing karmic debts that have bound your family line for generations. This is sacred work that can only be done from the human plane, which is why you chose to be here now. The exhaustion is temporary. Once this integration completes, you'll have more energy than you've had in years. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more starseeds like you can find it, because what I'm about to share next reveals why your individual transformation is actually a collective event. You see, the lighthouse signals you're all emitting are designed to work in network formation. When multiple starseeds in the same area activate their lighthouse frequencies simultaneously, it creates what we call a manifestation grid, a collective field that amplifies everyone's individual magnetic pull. You're not meant to do this alone. The isolation you experienced was warrior training, but that phase is complete. Now you're learning collective power through authentic connection. The Sun-Jupiter-Chiron T-square. Completing tomorrow isn't just bringing healing, it's bringing what we call causal healing, going back to the original wound that created your entire cascade of protective patterns. For many of you, this was the moment you first learned that being fully yourself wasn't safe, that showing your true essence led to rejection or harm. That primal wound created a split between your authentic self and your adaptive self, and you've been managing that split ever since. But now, through this cosmic configuration combined with your readiness, that original split is healing. You're becoming whole again. The financial abundance many of you sense approaching is part of this larger restructuring. The old paradigm where you had to sacrifice yourself for money, trade your life force for income, suffer to prove you deserved abundance, that entire economic matrix is crumbling. You're being positioned to receive resources in ways that align with your authentic expression, rather than your willingness to conform. Some will find money flowing from unexpected sources. Others will discover their most natural gifts. Things done effortlessly become their greatest sources of abundance. This isn't luck. It's alignment with abundance that was always trying to reach you, but couldn't penetrate your defensive barriers. Let me address the timeline bleed through you're experiencing. Memories from past lives surfacing, future potentials feeling like present memories, parallel realities overlapping. This isn't confusion, it's clarity of a higher order than your linear mind can process. You're beginning to experience yourself as the multidimensional being you truly are. Those moments of déjà vu are timeline convergence points. Those instant recognitions of strangers are soul family members you've known across incarnations. Those sudden downloads of knowledge you've never studied are access to your oversoul's accumulated wisdom. Your consciousness is expanding beyond linear time constraints. The creative surges many are experiencing, sudden urges to write, paint, sing, dance, build. These aren't random inspiration. You're being activated as transmission anchors for new consciousness codes. The art, music, writing flowing through you contains frequency patterns that activate others who encounter them. You're not just creating for personal expression, you're laying down new consciousness tracks for others to follow. This is why the creative urge feels so urgent, so important, even if logic can't explain why. Trust the urgency. Let creativity flow without needing to understand its purpose immediately. Here's what's actually happening with the synchronicities that are accelerating the repeated number patterns, perfect timing of messages, right people appearing at right moments. These aren't just confirmations you're on the right path. They're showing you that reality itself is far more fluid and responsive than you were taught. Every synchronicity is the universe demonstrating that you have more influence over your reality than you imagined. The more you acknowledge these synchronicities, the more they increase, creating an upward spiral of conscious co-creation. You're learning to dance with the quantum field, to participate consciously in creating your experience. The trust fall you're sensing isn't about blind faith or reckless abandon. Look back at your life. Every time you thought you couldn't survive something, you did. Every time you thought you were alone, support appeared. Every time you reached what felt like the end, it became a new beginning. The net has always been there. You just couldn't see it through your fear. This time you're being asked to jump knowing the net exists, feeling its presence even if your physical eyes can't see it. This is graduate level trust, and you're ready for it now. Something crucial about vulnerability that challenges everything you've been taught. It's actually the highest form of spiritual warfare. The dark forces that have worked to keep humanity small and disconnected. They counted on you staying armored, separate, in that protective stance that keeps you isolated from true power. Because when you're soft, open, vulnerable, you become a conduit for divine love to flow through uninhibited. And divine love is the most powerful force in creation. It dissolves illusions, transforms shadow, heals separation without fighting anything. Your softening feels threatening to old parts of you, because it represents death to every survival strategy based on separation consciousness. The physical reality shifts. Some are experiencing objects appearing or disappearing. Time anomalies, reality glitches, these aren't malfunctions. You're beginning to witness the malleable nature of physical reality. As consciousness expands, you're seeing how fluid the 3D matrix actually is. These experiences will become more common as you continue evolving. Don't fear them. They're evidence you're transcending purely physical perception limitations. You're learning to see the code behind the matrix, and eventually, you'll learn to consciously interact with it. This is part of your training for the reality you're entering. I need you to understand the wave of support building behind you right now, even if you can't see it. The universe has been orchestrating a massive coordination of resources, people, and opportunities to meet you exactly where you're about to be. It's like a surprise party planned across dimensions, waiting for you to walk through the door of your new consciousness level. Every guide, angel, and cosmic force that's ever supported you is converging efforts right now to ensure successful transition through this portal. You're not doing this alone, even when it feels like you are. The energy of divine grace being activated through current cosmic configurations isn't just healing, it's literally rewriting your destiny codes. Timelines where you remain stuck in old patterns are dissolving. Probability streams where you never fully embodied your purpose are being redirected. You're receiving what we call a cosmic reset, not erasing your past, but transforming its impact on your future. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every scar becomes a star map. Every broken piece becomes a sacred geometrical pattern of wholeness. This is alchemy at the highest level, and you're both the alchemist and the gold being refined. Now here's where all these storylines converge into one powerful revelation. The leap of faith, the softening, the lighthouse activation, the timeline convergences, the soul contracts completing, the abundance approaching. These aren't separate events. They're all aspects of one massive transformation that's been orchestrated across dimensions specifically for this moment in October 2025. The chaos you felt when the moon squared Uranus today was clearing timeline debris from your field. The mental strain is your consciousness processing multiple probability streams simultaneously. Everything that's felt like delay or resistance has been preparation for handling the velocity of what's about to unfold. The wishes and opportunities traveling toward you aren't moving in straight lines. They're spiraling through dimensions, finding perfect entry points into your reality. Every time you emit that lighthouse signal through genuine emotion, authentic vulnerability, real presence, you create what we call quantum bridges. These bridges allow desires to jump from potential to actual, from possible to probable to inevitable. But these bridges only form when you're in genuine feeling states, not forced positivity or manufactured high vibration. Your raw, messy, beautiful human emotions are the building materials for miracles. This is why authenticity is now your superpower. Let me tell you what's really happening when you feel that urge to hide your true self, to put the mask back on, to return to your fortress. That's your old operating system, making one last attempt to regain control, like a computer virus activating when it senses deletion. These moments of intense resistance, wanting to run back to familiar patterns even though they no longer serve, these are actually signs you're on the verge of breakthrough. The resistance is proportional to transformation. The bigger the leap you're about to make, the louder protective mechanisms scream. But you've developed something now you didn't have before: ability to witness these reactions without being controlled. The reason vulnerability feels like death to your ego is because in a very real sense it is. The ego structure that developed through trauma, through needing protection, through learning to never show weakness, that entire identity structure is dissolving. But what's replacing it isn't weakness. It's what we call divine confidence. This is unshakable knowing that comes not from being invulnerable, but from knowing you're divinely supported even in vulnerability, cosmically held even in softness, infinitely loved even in imperfection. This is a completely different foundation for being, one that doesn't require constant vigilance or perpetual armor. Some of you are questioning whether this softening is safe, whether letting your guard down will lead to being hurt again. Let me share something important. Your past experiences of betrayal, abandonment, pain weren't random or meaningless. They were initiation chambers, each designed to teach something essential about your resilience, your power, your capacity to transform pain into wisdom. But those initiations are complete now. You don't need more lessons in suffering to prove strength. The universe is showing you a new curriculum, one based on joy, ease, flow, and magnetic receiving. But you can only access this if you're willing to graduate from the old one. The geographical repositioning pulling you toward certain places connects to Earth's crystalline grid activation, accelerating through 2025 and beyond. Certain locations are becoming powerful vortexes for specific frequencies, and you're being called where your particular energy signature can be most effective while receiving maximum support. Some will find themselves in places that make no logical sense but feel completely right energetically. Trust this feeling. Your light body knows things your mind cannot compute. These moves aren't just about your journey. You're being positioned as anchor points for new frequency grids supporting collective awakening. This is strategic positioning for planetary transformation. When you start experiencing what feels like impossible coincidences, perfect orchestrations, magical alignments, know that you're witnessing the universe's response to your authentic frequency. The old paradigm taught that you had to earn blessings through suffering, prove worthiness through sacrifice, and demonstrate deservingness through struggle. But that entire construct was an illusion designed to keep you small. The truth is, abundance, love, support, and blessings are your birthright, constantly trying to reach you. The only thing that ever blocked them was the armor you wore to protect yourself from a world that felt too harsh for your sensitive soul. The relationships are approaching. And yes, for many of you, these are romantic connections that will redefine everything you thought you knew about love. These souls have been searching for your frequency across time and space, but they could only find you once you dropped your masks, released your armor, and showed your true face. These aren't relationships where you'll need to perform or pretend. These are connections that will celebrate your authenticity, mirror your wholeness, amplify your light simply by existing in proximity to your truth. But you have to be findable, recognizable, available at your authentic frequency for these destined encounters to occur. The financial abundance approaching isn't arriving through traditional channels for most of you. It's coming through alignment with your soul's purpose, through expressing your authentic gifts, through being yourself so fully that the universe has no choice but to support that expression. Some will discover that what you do most naturally, what feels like play rather than work, becomes your greatest source of abundance. Others will find resources flowing from directions you never expected, through connections you haven't met yet, via opportunities that don't currently exist in your awareness. The key is staying open to receive in ways your logical mind might initially reject. Your body knows what your mind is still processing, that this transformation isn't just spiritual or emotional, but cellular, molecular, atomic. Every strand of DNA is being rewritten with new codes of possibility. Every cell is remembering its original blueprint of perfection. Every atom is vibrating at frequencies that align with your soul's truth, rather than your ego's fears. This is why you're looking different, feeling different, aging backward, glowing from within. You're literally becoming a new version of yourself at the most fundamental level. And this physical transformation is evidence of the deeper metamorphosis occurring across all dimensions of your being. The creative expressions flowing through you now contain activation codes for collective awakening. That book you feel called to write, that song demanding to be sung, that art insisting on being created. These aren't personal projects. They're transmission vehicles for new consciousness patterns that will activate others ready to receive them. This is why the creative urge feels so urgent, why it won't leave you alone, why it feels bigger than personal expression. You're being used as a sacred instrument for frequency transmission, and every creation you birth carries codes that unlock doors in others' consciousness. Trust the creative flow even when you don't understand its ultimate purpose. Let me resolve another thread of this story: the exhaustion, the dreams, the astral work you've been doing while sleeping. This isn't random spiritual labor. You've been preparing the energetic infrastructure for your new reality. Like construction workers preparing a foundation before a building can rise, you've been laying groundwork in non-physical dimensions for what's about to manifest physically. The meetings in a dream state, the downloads during meditation, the sudden knowings that arrives fully formed. These are all your consciousness retrieving information from the preparatory work you've been doing in higher dimensions. Soon this preparation phase will complete, and you'll have energy you haven't experienced in years. The trust fall isn't something approaching in the future. You're already in it. You jumped the moment you started softening, the second you chose vulnerability over protection, the instant you decided to show your real face to the world. The falling sensation you're experiencing isn't you plummeting toward potential disaster. It's you floating in divine grace, held by forces you can't see but can increasingly feel. Every synchronicity is the universe showing you the net is there. Every blessing that arrives is proof you're being caught. Every moment of support that appears is evidence that you've always been held, even when you felt most alone. Now watch how all these threads weave together into one revelation. Your softening created the lighthouse activation, which broadcast the signal that attracted the timeline convergences, which brought the soul contracts to completion, while calling in destiny encounters, which opened channels for abundance while positioning you geographically for grid work, which activated your creative codes while sharpening your spiritual gifts, which prepared you for the trust fall you're already successfully navigating. Every single aspect we've explored is part of one unified transformation that's not coming. It's happening right now. The snowball hasn't just been approaching, it's here, and you're in it, being transformed by its momentum. The resistance you might still feel isn't evidence you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're doing something right. Transformation this profound doesn't happen without the ego putting up a fight. Every moment of doubt, fear, or desire to retreat to old patterns is actually confirmation that you're on the verge of breakthrough. The louder the resistance, the closer you are to freedom, the stronger the urge to hide, the more ready you are to be seen. The greater the fear of falling, the more prepared you are to fly. These paradoxes aren't contradictions. They're the nature of spiritual alchemy, where lead becomes gold through pressure, not despite it. Your role in collective awakening is more significant than your human mind can grasp. Every time you choose authenticity, you make it safer for others to do the same. Every moment you demonstrate that vulnerability and power can coexist, you rewrite collective understanding of strength. Every instance of you receiving with an open heart shows others that worthiness isn't earned but inherent. You're not just transforming yourself, you're contributing to transformation of the entire human template. This is why it feels monumentally important, why the stakes feel so high. Because you're not just changing your life, you're changing what's possible for life itself. The financial abundance, the love, the home, the purpose, the community, everything you've been calling in, it's all responding to this new frequency you're embodying right now. But it can only fully manifest while you're open to receiving it. Every wall built to keep out pain also keeps out pleasure. Every shield against disappointment also deflects delight. This is why the softening is essential, not to make you weak, but to make you receptive to the full spectrum of experience that wants to flow through your life. You're being asked to risk feeling everything, so you can receive everything. This is the ultimate trust fall, trusting life enough to experience it fully. Some of you are wondering if you're doing this right, if you're softening correctly, if you're open enough or still too guarded. Stop evaluating yourself through perfectionism's lens. This process is messy, non-linear, unique to each soul. There's no perfect way to transform. Sometimes you'll feel wide open. Sometimes you'll contract. Sometimes you'll trust completely. Sometimes doubt will creep in. This is all part of evolution's spiral dance. You're not going backward when you have moments of resistance. You're gathering strength for the next expansion. Honor wherever you are in each moment, without judgment. Your journey is unfolding perfectly, even when it feels imperfect. The message I leave you with brings us full circle to where we began. That leap of faith you're sensing isn't coming from outside, it's erupting from within. And everything you've been taught about spiritual growth has been preparing you for this moment of divine reversal, where softness becomes strength, vulnerability becomes power, receiving becomes creation. You thought you were waiting for the universe to catch you, but the truth is, you've already been caught. You jumped the moment you chose to read these words, to consider these possibilities, to feel these truths stirring in your soul. The net isn't something external, it's woven from every experience that brought you here. The snowball that's been rolling toward you, you're not standing in its path. You are the snowball, gathering momentum, collecting blessings, growing stronger with each revolution. The lighthouse you're becoming isn't separate from the wishes approaching. You're both the signal and the destination, both the call and the response, both the question and the answer. Everything you've been seeking is seeking you with equal intensity, and the softening you're experiencing is simply you removing the barriers between you and what's always been yours. This isn't a leap of faith into emptiness. It's a return to wholeness that your soul has been orchestrating since before you were born. We want to honor every single soul who has stepped into Destiny Engine. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. We are now moving as one, and the frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual. We're receiving updates daily. Manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field is so charged that some are describing it as bending the fabric of reality itself. If you haven't yet experienced it, the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension. Step into the stream of Destiny Engine today. Link in the description. As the cosmic energies of October 2025 continue their divine choreography, remember that chaos is creativity in motion, disruption is divine reorganization, and everything that feels like ending is actually completion making way for beginning. You're in the dissolution phase that precedes crystallization, and trust is being forged in the uncertainty. You're ready for what's coming, or it wouldn't be approaching. You're strong enough to be soft, powerful enough to be vulnerable, divine enough to be human. The universe has been conspiring to bless you since the moment you arrived here, and now, finally, you're open enough to receive what's always been waiting. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and this transmission is complete. We love you, we see you in all your beautiful transformation, and we are watching over you as you navigate this quantum leap into divine receiving. The lighthouse you've become is lighting the way, not just for your own blessings, but for all of humanity's evolution into a new paradigm of authentic power. Remember, you already jumped, you're already being caught, and everything you've been calling for is already on its way to you. All that's required now is your willingness to receive it with an open heart.